welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Hanny.
And welcome back to this month's Trends and Fads unit. Today we begin our second part looking at how Taiwan handled the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been a difficult year for most countries around the world because of this disease, and a lot of people have been badly affected and many have died.
That's absolutely true, Mike. But here in Taiwan, we have so far avoided many of the worst effects. Few people have gotten sick, a very small number of people have died, and life has gone on pretty much like normal. And that is not the way things have been in many other places.
And sure, Taiwan does have a few advantages. We are a small island country, so it's easier for us to control how people come into the country.
Right, good point. And we also have a good hospital system and many excellent doctors and other health workers.
And one of the best things that we had was a plan, a good plan. And the government here used that plan right away, long before many other countries even saw that COVID-19 was going to be a big danger.
Well, but this plan didn't just come out of nowhere. The government in Taiwan learned many important lessons from the experience of dealing with other diseases similar to COVID-19 in the past. Diseases like SARS, the bird flu, and H1N1.
Very true, Dr. Hanny. So today we'll be looking more closely at that plan, how it worked, and how it can serve as a good example for other countries as they fight not only COVID-19 now, but other diseases that will come along in the future.
Well, before we begin reading today's article, though, let's take a look at all of our new vocabulary. 好，今天课文要来看看台湾防疫机制的运作方式。我们的防疫机制呢，是把已经感染新冠肺炎以及任何有得病迹象的患者隔离，然后接着去追踪并且检测跟他接触过的每个人。好，单字 trace 就表示追踪，它在课文里面是当动词。例如 ，The police traced the car to an old factory. The police traced a car to an old factory. 警方追踪那台车追到一间老旧的工厂。那么课文接着写到说，台湾也有控制口罩的数量。那么当供应量变低，就会限制每个人能买的口罩数量，然后接着迅速去增加口罩的生产。这边有3个单字 ，low， 它可以用来形容这个数量是少的，或是数字程度是低的。那这个字是当形容词。例如 ，Ron is complaining about his low income。Ron is complaining about his low income. Ron 在抱怨收入少。好，下一个单词 limit 在课文里面当动词，它表示限制、限定。例如 Lily's doctor advised her to limit her daily intake of sugar. Lily's doctor advised her to limit her daily intake of sugar. Lily 的医生建议她要限制每天糖分的摄取。最后一个单词 production 它是名词，表示生产制作。那我们可以造这样的例句 The car is out of production. The car is out of production 就是说这辆车已经停产了。好，现在看完单词例句，我们来读课文吧。
Taiwan also shared its system with the world. It quarantined people with COVID-19 and any signs of the disease. It then traced and tested the people that they had contact with. Taiwan controlled its face masks too. When the supply was low, it limited how many each person could buy. Then, it worked fast to increase its production of face masks.
Explanation 1.
So, in yesterday's article, we read about how Taiwan developed a good disease-fighting plan after the experiences of earlier diseases like SARS and bird flu. And this is a plan and other information that the doctors, scientists, and government in Taiwan didn't just keep for themselves to use. No, not at all. As we read in the first sentence of our article for today, Taiwan also shared its system with the world. And that's one of the nice things about how the world has gone about fighting COVID-19.
Yes, absolutely. 好，台湾的防疫机制并非突然无中生有，是因为过去经历了 SARS、H1N1 等等流行病的肆虐，那么政府就创立一个机制来应付流行病。那此外，我们也有跟各国来分享这个防疫机制。好，补充一下，我们前面用到 out of nowhere 字面意思是从不知名的地方冒出来，那它也可以用来表达突然、出乎意料的意思。Okay, let's take a short break right here because we need to get over to Daphne for our first grammar point.
大家好，我是 Daphne。今天的第一则文法是 A shares something with B， 意思是 A 和 B 分享某事物。Share 是及物动词，意思是分享，后方接东西当受词，再用介系词 with 与引出分享的对象。我们来看个例句 ：Credence shared the desk with his brother. Credence 跟哥哥共用一张书桌。
So, Taiwan came up with a good plan to fight diseases like COVID-19, and it used this plan to help people here in Taiwan, of course, but it also shared this important information with other countries.
Right, so now let's look at some of the things that Taiwan did to protect itself from the worst effects of COVID-19. Okay, next we read, it quarantined people with COVID-19 and any signs of the disease. Yes, that's right. Quarantine is when you stay away from other people, often all by yourself, so that you don't spread any diseases you might have.
Yeah, and we all know that anyone who flew into Taiwan on an airplane had to stay in quarantine for 14 days before they were allowed to go out and be with other people. 14 days is a long time to be all by yourself in a hotel room, for example, but if you are sick, it's better for doctors to know about it before you get out and start getting near other people who might catch any sickness you have. And if people did show signs that they might be sick with COVID-19, there was another layer of protection for people who might have been near that sick person. As we read, it then traced and tested the people that they had contact with. Right, and then those people, they might have to do a 14-day quarantine as well.
Right, these rules might have been pretty tough, but they sure worked well. Well, very, very few people here have gotten sick or died, and that's certainly not the case in other countries who didn't have strict rules like Taiwan did. Okay, let's take a look at our second grammar point now, and then we'll come back to read more.
第二则文法是A has contact with B， 意思是 A 和 B 有接触往来。Has 是 have 的第三人称单数型，意思是有。Contact 是不可数名词，意思是接触往来。后方用介系词 with 与引出往来的对象。我们来看个例句 ：Catherine has little contact with the outside world. Catherine 极少与外界往来。
谢谢 Daphne 老师的讲解。在台湾，已经感染新冠肺炎以及任何有得病迹象的患者都要隔离。那么，另外一层保护机制则是去追踪检测跟他们接触过的每个人。那么，Mike 老师刚刚也提到，从国外入境台湾，一律都要隔离14天。这跟别的国家比起来，我们规定是比较严格的。好，补充一下 ，quarantine 这个动词它表示隔离。那刚刚我们说另一层保护，老师用到 layer 就是指层，那么 protection 就是有保护。防护的意思，还有我们说 strict 就可以形容是严格的。
So Taiwan had some really strict but smart rules for quarantining people who might have had COVID-19 and also tracking people who might have been near someone with the disease.
But that's not the only thing the government's health plan paid extra attention to. As we read on, the article next tells us Taiwan controlled its face masks too. Ah, yes. Last year when the COVID-19 pandemic was growing, many people were worried about getting enough face masks.
Yeah, they sure were. In some countries, face masks were really hard to find. But we didn't have to worry too much here, did we? We had a plan. As it says, when the supply was low, it limited how many each person could buy. Right. We needed to make sure that doctors and nurses had enough to do their work in the hospital safely.
Yeah, and also make sure that people didn't rush out to the store and buy hundreds of masks for themselves and then have other people who didn't have any.
That would not be good. So they made a system where the masks were given out fairly. That avoided the big problem of many people not having masks and some people having way too many.
Yeah. 我们政府有控制口罩的数量来保障第一线医护人员有足够的口罩，并且提供长期稳定的口罩供应量来给人民使用。那文中用到 supply 这个字就是表达供应量、库存，它是当名词来用。At the same time, the government worked to get more masks out there to people. As we reach the break, the article tells us, then it worked fast to increase its production of face masks. Right, factories that made masks started to work 24 hours a day so that more and more masks would become available for hospital workers and normal people as well.
And now I think it's safe to say people in Taiwan have more masks than they really need, and they're easy to get pretty much anywhere. You can of course find masks at your local convenience store. They're quite easy to find. All right, everyone, let's take a break. Wear your mask, and then we'll come back for the second part of today's article.
Most importantly, Taiwan got its people to help. Everyone wore masks in public, social distanced, and washed their hands often. Taiwan wished the world the same success.
Explanation 2.
So, Taiwan's plan to fight COVID-19. Quarantining people who come into the country in case they have the disease?
Check. Tracking and tracing people who might have been near someone with COVID-19?
Check. Making sure that hospital workers have enough masks to do their job?
Check. Increasing production of masks so that soon everyone has enough?
Check. All right. Well, we're doing really well here, aren't we? Good job, everyone. The government had a plan that they had made over many years after learning lessons from other diseases like SARS. And now they were using that plan, and it seemed to be working very well.
But there's one thing that any plan needs so that it can work. Sure, it should hopefully be a good plan, but even just a so-so plan needs for people to follow it. If I have the best plan in the world, but then no one listens, pays attention, or follows the plan, well, then it simply won't work.
That is a very excellent point. The best plan in the world won't work if people don't follow it. And this is where you and I and her and everyone in the country came in to make sure that Taiwan's plan worked as well as it did. As we read next, most importantly, Taiwan got its people to help. That's right. People here listened to the government's plan and they followed it. And that's what really made it work.
As it says, everyone wore masks in public, social distanced, and washed their hands more often. 说到这里啊，忍不住想叫大家替自己爱的鼓励来一下，因为对抗疫情最重要的还是人民的配合，大家一起携手协助。我们每个人都在公共场合戴口罩，来保持社交距离，并且勤洗手。那这边我们终于用到 social distance， 就是用来表达保持社交距离。
And as this plan was working well here and keeping millions of people safe, the government was also sharing this knowledge with any country who wanted to use it. As we read in the last sentence of the article, Taiwan wished the world the same success. Absolutely, and we still do.
It's true. The terrible disease will still be with us for many months or maybe even years to come. The fight is not over. And our fight against bad grammar is also not over. And here to offer us some good grammar medicine is Dr. Daphne with our last grammar point.
Grammar fighting.
第三则文法是 A wishes B something， 意思是 A 祝福 B 某事物。Wish 是授予动词，意思是祝福，使用时后方要接两个受词。 一个受词是人，另一个受词是东西。句型为 A wishes B something。例如 This year wished me every success。This year 祝我事事成功。
Okay, everyone, that is all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Keep wearing a mask, keep washing your hands, keep taking care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you all back here tomorrow for the final day of our Trends and Fads unit. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Taiwan's COVID-19 lessons for the world.
Taiwan also shared its system with the world. It quarantined people with COVID-19 and any signs of the disease. It then traced and tested the people that they had contact with. Taiwan controlled its face masks too. When the supply was low, it limited how many each person could buy. Then, it worked fast to increase its production of face masks. Most importantly, Taiwan got its people to help. Everyone wore masks in public, social distanced, and washed their hands often. Taiwan wished the world the same success.
I need a new pair of sunglasses. I lost my old pair.
We have all shapes and colors of sunglasses. What kind do you like?
I like round styles the most, and I don't want anything with bright colors.
Here are a few of our round styles. We have black, dark blue, and brown. Why don't you give them a try?
This brown pair won't do. It's too small for my face. I really like this pair though. It's just right.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 又到我们1分钟的单元喽。那我们今天是用1分钟的时间来复习4个单字，还会造4个例句。同学们，您都准备好没？1分钟计时开始。第一个单字呢，它可以当动词来表达追踪，这个字叫做 trace。The police tried to trace the call but failed。警方试图要追踪那一通来电，但是没能成功，失败了。好，第二个单字呢，它可以用来形容这个数量啊、数字或是程度等等，它是少的，是低的。这字形容词叫做 low。Vegetables are low in calories。蔬菜的热量低，它的卡路里很低。好，第三个单字是限制、限定的意思，这字叫做 limit。好，这个限制其实它可以当名词或当动词，只是我们要用动词来造句。You should try to limit the amount of time you spend on Facebook。你应该要试着限制自己花在脸书上的时间，不要整天一直滑。好，第四个单字它是表达生产或是制作，这字叫做 production。它的动词就是 produce， 看得出来字拼起来差不多很像，对不对 ？OK，the vehicle has gone out of production。这种车辆已经停产了。好，太好啦！我们在1分钟这里已经复习完4个单字，也造完例句咯。同学们表现很棒诶，那记得也要多多复习哦。我们下次见，拜拜。See you next time.